Good evening, everyone. My name's Ron. I'm an alcoholic. Hi, Ron. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody got enough to eat. Welcome to the Conscious Contact Speaking Group of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is our anniversary tonight. We had a one-day mini convention. It was really amazing speakers here. The CD set will be burnt probably by this Thursday. Our sister group is a big book study. It meets every Thursday at Salem UCC Church, 186 East 4th Street. It's right about a block from here. It meets at 7:30 on a Thursday. So if you ever come out, if you like the big book, come have a good time with us and pick up those CDs. If not, we should have them burnt by next week here. So anybody that wants any, just show back up next week. We got a pretty exciting speaker for you. Came all the way from California. Ate half of our food here. Said he's going to make amends, though. I don't know. But anyway, there's been so many people that did so much work to put this together, and so many people that made contributions, and not only financially, but at their time. And these guys over here, just been amazing. Daryl's been out here with me all day, and Nick, and Dave, and Alex, and we can go on forever. I'll leave, and Mrs. K chefing up a storm. She's still slinging some, yes, slinging some ziti back there, right? But anyway, we've been very fortunate with all your help and all your attendance, and we get to put these things on in the future. So be mindful when we pass our basket. These things are expensive, and we do nothing but give back to Alcoholics Anonymous, because that's the way this group is predicated on giving back. And so with that, I'm going to give you Nick, who's going to chair this, and then we'll get this going, this party going. Don't forget the meeting after the meeting. Really quick, is anybody going back towards the Bristol exit of 95 on the way that would like to give one gentleman a ride? Anybody? Absolutely nobody. Okay. Wait, this guy? Okay, there you go. We got it. There's your ride. Anyway, what else did I want? Oh, and when we're done here, we're going to have to put all these tables away and these chairs. If you want to do any service, please stay with us, okay? Nick, come on up here and help me. Good job. Good.
Hello everybody, my name's Nick, I'm an alcoholic. Everybody having a good time? Alright, glad you're all here. Welcome to the Conscious Contact Group of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is a 1-hour speaker meeting that meets every Saturday night at 7:30 in St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Doylestown, 301 North Main Street. The business meeting for this group meets every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 7:30 right here. The purpose of this group is to provide a consistent message of hope and recovery through God reliance and service to others through the practice and teaching of the 12 steps. We record all speakers so that others may benefit from their message of recovery. If you wish not to be recorded, simply ask. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. The group would like to welcome everyone, especially newcomers. Is there anyone new or from out of town that would like to introduce themselves by their first name? Yes, sir.
My name is Donald. Unisex is Donnie, the female is Donnie, and I'm just
Welcome.
It's in the zip code of 19111. It's called Tuesday Night Men's, and 90 minutes men's meet on 11th and Oakley out there in the Lawndale section of the city of Philadelphia.
Thank you very much. All right. Super. The Conscious Contact Speaker Group encourages sponsorship. Would anyone with working knowledge of the 12 steps and is willing to sponsor, please raise your hands. Excellent. Are there any announcements from the floor for the good of AA? All right, we have meeting lists and big books on easy terms. Please see me or any home group member after the meeting. If you cannot afford a big book, the Conscious Contact Speaker Group will give you one at no charge. Anyone willing to make donations for the purchase of big books and CDs to help those who can't afford them can put donations in the jar on the table marked Big Book and CD Donations. If you would like a CD of any speaker past or present, please see me or Ron before or after the meeting. They're available free of charge. And I've asked Zach to please read the AA preamble.
How you guys doing? I'm an alcoholic named Zach. And this is the AA preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety. I have asked Alex to read the 12 steps.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Alex, and I'm an alcoholic. And these are the 12 steps of recovery. 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for His knowledge, for His will for us, and the power to carry that out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Thank you.
Our 7th tradition states every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting through their own contributions. At this time, we'll pass around the baskets. We have no dues or fees. We do have expenses. This group provides many services, your donations, rent, big books, CDs, events, and workshops, and all that delicious food. So please be generous with your donations. There is absolutely no smoking on church property. Just walk out to the street and please dispose of your butts accordingly. Take this moment to please silence your cell phones and limit movement during the meeting to avoid distractions. Now I'll introduce our speaker. It's a great friend of the Conscious Contact Group, comes all the way from California. Just a fun guy to be around, and has a great message. Everybody please welcome Mickey Bush.
Ta-da! Here we are. If one's good, two's better, right? 3. They know how sick I am. Hi everybody, my name's Mickey Bush and I'm a fully conceited alcoholic. That's fully conceited, not conceited, as you may become aware of a little bit later on. I identify as a fully conceited alcoholic because in the beautiful book Alcoholics Anonymous, this beautiful book that I have before me here, it says on page 30, we learned we had to fully concede to our innermost self that we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. It's the first step in recovery, but it's not the first of the 12 steps. That's a totally different step. As you can see out there, it doesn't say anything about mentioning alcoholic in the first of the 12 step, but it's the first step in recovery, to learn to fully concede to your innermost self that was alcoholic. And why that's so pertinent to me is because when I got here, I had no idea that I was alcoholic. I knew nothing about nothing when I got here. When I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I was so sick that I didn't know I was sick. Do you know how sick that is? Do you know how sick it is to be so sick that you don't know you're sick? It's really sick, you know. And if you're as sick as I was when I first got here, and you come to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, like this meeting, and room full of alkies, good alkies seems to me, you know, and you scan the room, because where I came from, one of the first things you had to learn growing up was you had to learn how to become a good scanner. You had to be able to go in anywhere and immediately scan the room to decide who was going to be the next victim, you know. So you scan the room and you look around and you think, Well, I'm not as sick as him. Do you know how sick that is? Do you know how sick it is to be in a meeting full of alkies thinking you ain't as sick as the next guy? That's really sick. You know. So if you're in here tonight wondering whether you is or whether you isn't a real alcoholic or not, I want you to know that I can relate to being as sick as you don't think you are. You know, really sick. And I never knew. But you guys did know. And you guys taught me. So I identify as a fully conceding alcoholic, you know, because that's what it says. It's the first step in recovery. And I needed to do that because I didn't know. I'll try and elaborate on that. But I'm really thrilled to be here. You know, I've been treated so well. And, you know, there's a guy here that's, he's from Doylestown. Does anybody know Ron? You know, big Ron over there. He's from Doylestown. And, you know, we met a while ago, and you know, we've been friends and communicating since, and I'm really delighted. Thank you, Ron, for asking me to come here and share this with you, and I'm just thrilled to bits. You know, I'm a little over 35 years clean and sober, and it's more thrilling today to be among you than it's ever been. You know, I'm more thrilled today. It's more thrilling and more exhilarating to be an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous than it's ever been. You know, and, you know, the very first thing that I ever heard in recovery, before I even got into the very first meeting, outside the meeting, when I was greeted by the greeters that were outside the meeting I knew nothing about, I heard those magic words, keep coming back, you know. I didn't know what they meant, I didn't know what they were talking about, but I've kept coming back. I've kept coming back all these years later, and it's more thrilling today than it's ever been. So if there's anybody here, you know, wondering and what's the point and stuff like that, or wonder if they're going to stick around, you know, I'm here to endorse the fact that it's better today than it's ever been, and I'm more thrilled today. You know, and you know what, if you were to say, here's $1,000, Mick, tell me the last 2 days in a row that you didn't go to a meeting, I wouldn't be able to take your money. You know, I have a vague recollection of an odd day here and there that perhaps I didn't go to a meeting, but I certainly don't know 2 days in a row that I didn't go to a meeting. You know, so you know, I encourage everybody to keep coming back, and that's, you know, our new folk. I know there was just the one man that I thought he was going to talk to his first year birthday, you know, to our newcomer who was there. But, you know, I encourage people to keep coming back because, again, what's in the beautiful book, I'm going to take the liberty of reading my favourite passage from the beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous, this beautiful book. Anybody read this book, by the way? Who reads the book, Alcoholics Anonymous? You know, it's a good idea if you're alcoholic, read the book, you know, I mean, Alcoholics Anonymous, book of Alcoholics. And I'll tell you for why. This is my favourite part of the book, my favourite passage. It says, I looked up an AA meeting and went there alone. That's what I did. I went to an AA meeting and went there alone. Here I found an ingredient that had been lacking in any other effort I'd made to save myself. Here was power. Here was power to live to the end of any given day. Power to have the courage to face the next day. Power to have friends. Power to help people. Power to be sane. Power to stay sober. That was 7 years ago and many AA meetings ago. And I haven't had a drink during those 7 years. Moreover, I'm deeply convinced that so long as I continue to strive in my bumbling way towards the principles I first encountered in the earlier chapters of this book, this remarkable power will continue to flow through me. What is this power? With my AA friends, all I can say is that it's a power greater than myself. If pressed, all I can do is follow the psalmists who said it long before me, be still and know that I am God. That's good crap, isn't it? Here it is. Here's the power right here, right now. We're in part of the power right here. There's so much power in this room right here, right now. Power provided by God. This power is of God and from God and provided by God. It's not God, but it's of God and provided by God for alcoholics of my kind, your kind, our kind, beautiful book says, to not have to drink today. Everybody know what I'm talking about? Is this on? Are you awake? So here it is. We must have a power in here, mustn't we? A power in this room right here, right now. I don't know how many folks are in the room, perhaps a couple of hundred people, I don't know. But, if we haven't got a power in this room right here, right now, enabling 200 drunks to not have to drink tonight, that we can take out there to enable us to defeat a disease that makes me do what I already don't want to do, because that's what I got. I got a disease called alcoholism, and this disease called alcoholism makes me do what I already don't want to do. So I can't not do it just because I don't want to. I got to not want to do it, but then do these steps in this work so that I don't do what I already don't want to do. And if I don't do these steps in this work, or I ain't done these steps in this work, I will do what I don't want to do, because the disease I got that I'm powerless over will make me do what I don't want to do. You think I knew that crap when I got here? I had no idea. So we must have a power. I hear people walking around going, powerless, powerless, everybody's powerless, powerless over everything, powerless over people, places and things. I mean, what? I mean, I don't do that. I got so much bloody power over alcohol as long as I stay here with you, being a small part of this great whole. Got so much power, it's just so right there. Power, 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 power. My troops, I don't teach them powerless over everything. We got so much power. In and of myself I was helpless, hopeless and powerless. But I ain't in and of myself. I'm here a small part of a great whole. And we can take this power that we have here, in this very room, out there, so that I don't have to drink and drug anymore out there. We must have a power, mustn't we? Because if I got a disease that makes me do what I already don't want to do, and I can't not do it just because I don't want to, I mean, when I go out there, if I ain't got a power to combat the power of the disease, I'll have to drink. Now, I don't know Doylestown very well, but I've got a feeling that it ain't ready for 200 alkies to go out and get shit-faced tonight. Yeah. Powerless? In and of myself, when I got here, I was helpless, hopeless and powerless, like the first step says. Powerless over alcohol, Powerless over alcohol, not people, places and things. I mean, I got power in certain other areas. I chose to wear this shirt tonight. I got 3 other shirts. I could have worn another jacket. I didn't need to wear a hat. I like hats. H-A-T-S. Here are the steps. I like hats. I got power in other areas, but I'm powerless over alcohol. I had no power over alcohol. Where alcohol was concerned, I had no power. But I came and I joined you. And when I hit bottom, which isn't mentioned in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, incidentally, when I hit bottom, which was turning back to the God that the disease had gotten me to abandon, to ask for help, God seemed to say, Mick, I've been waiting for you to ask. Get yourself over that 12-step fellowship. Sent me to you. I asked for help and he sent me to you. That's why I know God and the power are different. This power that's of God and from God and provided by God is of God, but it ain't God. God is much more to God than the power he provides for alcoholics to not have to drink today. But God's back in my life. He sent me to you. I got a 12-step fellowship, spiritual fellowship. You guys introduced me to a big book. In the big book was a program. A program introduced me to a sponsor, a design for living, a blueprint for life. Steps. I got so much bloody power over alcohol now, I don't know what to do with it, for Christ's sake. I said to my sponsor, what should I do with all this power over alcohol I got? He said, give it away. Go down there to Doylestown at the weekend, give it to them. Don't worry, they won't want it. So you see, that's what I brought here. And I'm real glad to be here. I'm real glad to be a small part of this great whole. I love that. I love being a small part of this great whole. It's very precious to me to be that. I know that, you know, I get a lot of juice, I get a lot of rah-rah. I've been over the world, been 7 continents carrying the message, and, you know, get a lot of rah-rah, and I get a lot of well-meaning, much more than I deserve, of course. I was just told that I'm a celebrity in Alcoholics Anonymous, a 12-step celebrity, by 2 celebrities. I was over in the old home group in San Fernando Valley, doing some business over there. I don't live there anymore, but, you know, I thought I'd visit the old home group, and I went and visited the old home group, and it's great. It was a great meeting, still a great meeting, even though I don't go there anymore. And, you know, after the meeting, we came out of the meeting, there's a couple of well-known Academy Award-winning celebrity actresses that you all know by name. I've known them a long time, and, you know, one of them said, "Oh, good to see you, Mick. I haven't seen you in a while." I said, "Yeah, I don't live in the neighbourhood anymore, but wanted to come and see the old home group and see how you're all doing, and glad to see everything's all right." And one of them said, "I didn't realise, Mick, what a celebrity you become in 12 Steps Fellowship." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You're like this dude." She said, "Everybody knows you. You go all over the world speaking." I said, "What are you going on about?" She said, "I'm making a movie in New York," she said, "and I went to 2 meetings in New York, and in both the meetings, they mentioned you, they quoted you, they mentioned you by name. You're like this 12-step celebrity." I said, "Yeah, bloody big deal, a celebrity in an anonymous program." "No, you're a celebrity. I'm just a small part of a great whole, just an active member." And I love that, and I love being a small part of a great whole and a contributing member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, what a privilege for a guy like me. You know, I don't know where you came from, but I came out of nutboards for the criminally insane. You know, I've spent a great deal of my life incarcerated and being a burden on everybody I ever came in contact with, you know. But that isn't so now. That's not true now. I'm not the same guy. I've changed. I've changed because that's what we have to do. And I didn't know that when I got here, but I read the doctor's opinion. In the doctor's opinion, he said, unless it can induce an entire psychic change, there's very little hope of his recovery. And wow, very little hope of his recovery. Wow, very little hope. HOPE, happy our program exists. Who's happy they got a program here now? And the rest of you lying mothers, I know. HOPE, hearing other people's experiences. That's what we do, don't we? We come here and we share our experience, strength and hope with each other to encourage each other to stay clean and sober, to do together what we couldn't do apart. I couldn't stay sober, you couldn't stay sober, but together we can stay sober, and that's what we do here, don't we? We do that, and I love that. I love being a small part. And the doctor said, you know, unless we change, there's very little hope of my recovery. Wow, change. Well, why have I got to change, for heaven's sake? And what induces a change? What induces a change is the 12 spiritual steps. The 12 steps induce a change required to give me hope for the future. If I don't do the 12 steps, very little hope of my recovery. So I've got to change. Why have I got to change? Well, you've got to change because what you already are and what you bring here, the disease is already screwed. Everybody know that? Did somebody just fart? Was that a fart? God. Yeah. I mean, I've got to change because the disease has already screwed what I already am. And if I don't want to keep getting screwed by the disease, I've got to change. Otherwise, if we don't change, we'll keep repeating the same behaviour. Repeating the same behaviour is the insanity we talk about in the second step, you know. And so if I don't change, I keep getting screwed. And anything I don't change, I'll repeat because it's a disease of repetition. So if I don't change, I'll repeat. You know, well, I mean, I don't know none of this when I get here. How do I know that? You know, I don't like authoritative figures. I've lived outside the law all my life. And you know, now I'm getting directions and all this stuff. Wow. Got to change. CHANGE. Choosing honesty allows new growth every day. New growth. Not like anything, new growth. And I've got to keep growing. GROW, go right on working. You know, you never reach that pinnacle where you don't have to do this no more, because it's a progressive disease and it keeps progressing and progressing and progressing. That's why on page 85, there's a big fat trap attached to the statement, we have a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. That's probably the most quoted page in the book, but there's a big fat trap there, and I'm the only one who talks about it. I don't know anybody else, no other speakers that talk about it, but on page 85, we have a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Well, there's a big fat trap attached to that, because we can't afford to do that. We can't afford to maintain means to stay the same. We can't afford that. We can't afford to reach a level and just maintain it, but people do. People, you know, get 10, 15 years sober and such, and they reach a level and they maintain it, and their life's good, their family's good, their bedroom privileges, the kids are in college, they've got a career, and what have you, and their life's going great, everything's going great, and they get drunk and wonder why. Because we can't afford to just maintain. We can't afford to reach a level and maintain it. Whatever level it is, we can't afford to just maintain it, which is to stay the same, because we got a progressive disease, and whatever level you reach, the disease creeps up behind you and bites you on the arse. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah. See, so what we got to maintain is not the level we reach, but we've got to maintain the forward progression. We've got to keep going forward so that the disease can't come up and bite me on the butt. You know, but you know, some of this stuff I don't know. I don't know none of this when I get here. I have no idea I know nothing about nothing when I get here. But I don't want to give you the impression that I'm an idiot. I'm not an idiot. Don't mean to offend any idiots in the room. If there's any idiots, I don't mean to offend anybody, you know. I don't come here to deliberately offend people, but I'm good at it, you know. So, anyway, you know, when I get here, I'm an educated guy. I'm not just good looking. I'm smart, you know. I mean, I got an education. I got creds. I got street creds. I got academics. I got a PhD, pretty heavy drinker, you know. But here I am dying of a disease that I don't even know I got, you know. Alcoholism. I'm dying of a disease I don't even know I got. Now that's dumb apart from anything else. I'd rather be an alcoholic than a dummy. And I'm dying of untreated alcoholism and I don't know nothing about it. But you guys did. And when I came here, you guys said, keep coming back. I went, wow. That very day, my best friends told me to piss off. Just piss off. You guys who never even knew me said, keep coming back. Guy said, keep coming back. I thought he said, keep coming on my back. I said, what? He said, keep coming back. I said, what for? He said, we love you. I said, I bet you do. You know, keep coming back. Wow. You know, when I was at my most unbelievable, you guys welcomed me the most. You know, my best friends were telling me to piss off. You guys who never even knew me were saying, keep coming back. We love you. And I love that about Alcoholics Anonymous. I loved it. I'm one of the guys that got to Alcoholics Anonymous and fell in love with Alcoholics Anonymous straight away. I mean, I just literally preferred and loved being a part of Alcoholics Anonymous before I even knew what anything was about. I knew nothing about nothing when I got here. And you guys did, and you taught me, because I didn't know. And that's why I had to learn to fully concede to my innermost self that was alcoholic. That's what it says. You know, but I don't hear a lot of people say, will you help me, will you teach me, I want to learn, like it says in the book. We learned, we had to. It wasn't optional. It wasn't something I could take or leave, or take what you want and leave the rest. We learned we had to fully concede to my innermost self that we were alcoholic. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people, or presently maybe, has to be smashed. So we had to do it, and it has to be done. Nothing optional there, you know. But I don't hear a lot of people say, I want to learn, will you help me, will you teach me? Because everybody seems to know everything. I hear a lot of people say, I know. I was talking to a guy here today. He couldn't understand. He didn't know what the answer was. And when I told him, he said, oh, I know. As soon as I told him, he knew. Prior to me telling him, he had no clue. But as soon as I told him, I know. Followed by, yeah, but. I know, yeah, but. Yeah, but. I know, yeah, but. Yeah, but. The mating call of arseholes. You know, I mean, it don't say, I know, yeah, but. It says, you know, we learned. And I had to learn. Because I didn't know. I had no idea when I got here. I'm from northwest London, England. You probably picked up on that, right? This is the way I speak. Alcohol didn't do this to me. You know, I mean, and where I come from, everybody drinks. Don't know why we drink. There's never a reason to drink. Nobody said you should. Nobody said you shouldn't. Everybody just did. I mean, there was no reason to drink, no reason not to drink. Everybody drank. We drank if the team won. We drank if the team lost. If it was a tie, we drank till there was a result. You know? And where I came from, if you were just drinking beer, you were off the booze. I didn't realise that until I'd been sober a while. You know, I remember being in a pub at the lunchtime. We always used to meet, and I was just having a beer. Just sitting there. I was alone, just having a beer. And my best friend, the one who told me to piss off, he came in all those years ago, and he said, oh, what do you want to drink, Mick? You want a drink? I said, no, I've got a beer. He went, have you got the clap? Because if you were just drinking beer, you were off the booze. And the only reason you were off the booze was if you had 7 days of penicillin for the clap. You know? And he didn't care whether I had the clap or not, but he wanted to know, because if I had it, he had it, because we shared everything. You know, I didn't realise that when I got here. You know, I'd never ever tried to quit drinking. When I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I knew nothing. I didn't know I was alcoholic. I had never, stood at the turning point, half measures of violence, nothing, like the beautiful book says. I didn't even know where the point was. Half measures of violence, nothing. I mean, I didn't do any of that. We stood at the turning point. I tried countless vain attempts to drink like other people. Who done that? I never done that. What? I don't want to drink like you. I want to drink like me, like the pig I am. I read this, but I didn't know what it was and didn't understand it. And I come here to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I don't know nothing, but you guys do. And when I get here, 2 guys got up in my face. I was a newcomer. They tell me I was grey, shaky and smelly when I got here. I thought I was God's gift to the world, for crying out loud, I don't know nothing, but you guys did. And I heard guys talking about why they drank. And they talked about drinking because they couldn't stand who they are. They couldn't stand the pain, and they was hiding behind and they had all these issues. Like pass the tissues, I got issues. And I think, at what stage of the game do you discover that? I couldn't even imagine that, me. I couldn't imagine, going into any pub I ever drank at, I could not imagine going into any pub I ever drank at and saying, oh, bartender, hit me with a triple shot of your best booze, because I can't stand who I am and I want to cover up the pain tonight. Never happened. Never. Oh, Mr. Dealer Man, give me an extra rock of crack cocaine, because I really feel inadequate. Never happened. Have no idea why I do what I do. But you guys did, and you taught me. And you taught me well, and I learned, and I stuck around, and I stayed, and I hope you do too. This is just worth it, that's why. I never knew I was alcoholic. Guy got up in my face. Now, our beautiful book don't say we don't tell folk they're alcoholic. It says we prefer not to, which is a totally different thing. Guy got up in my face, said, you're alcoholic. I said, what? He said, you're alcoholic. I said, that's a bloody mean thing to say to somebody. Say a mean thing like that to somebody for. He said, you're alcoholic. I said, why'd you say that? He said, because if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and sounds like a duck and smells like a duck, it's a bloody duck. just because he's been taking some shit and thinks he's an eagle. No, you're a duck. You're a duck, I'm a duck. Quack, quack, you know. Oh my God. This is the bloody funny farm, man. You know, guys loving on you and shit, and ducks and eagles and shit. I mean, what's that all about? But I didn't know that he was breaking through that big bad barrier that I had up against the world and about everything, that barrier of denial, that this disease is a disease of denial. I didn't know that. I mean, how would I know? I couldn't work it out for myself, and I've lived outside the law all my life. I denied everything, every time. I never once stood in front of a judge and said, yes, Your Honour, guilty as charged. Not once, ever. I denied everything. Told a man a story, he said, yeah, it was in a blackout. I said, what? He said, we call that a blackout. I said, I wasn't in no blackout. Didn't know what it was, but denied it anyway. You know? He said, yeah, we call that a blackout. I said, no, I was awake, I was doing stuff. He said, I said, blackout, idiot, not pass out. I went, oh, because I didn't know you did things in a blackout, things you didn't remember, like travel. I came out of a blackout once walking down the street in Spain. I went out drinking in London. You know something's happened when you come out of a blackout and there's sunshine and palm trees. Ain't no bloody sunshine and palm trees in London. Foggy, wet, rainy London. And I'm walking down, oh, now I knew Spain. I'd lived in Spain, so I was familiar territory. I wasn't surprised. And I was with her. Her. We do find them, don't we? I don't know where she came from. She was an Eskimo. She came from Iceland. She was an Eskimo chick. Have no idea where she came from, don't know who she is. You relate, obviously. Do you know what? I never ever went to bed with an ugly woman, ever. But they changed overnight. Are there any miracle drinkers in the room? Any miracle drinkers? One over there. No miracle drinkers? This is disease of denial, folks. Look, no miracle drinkers. Anybody never go out and have a miracle develop in front of their very eyes? Nobody ever go out drinking and drink somebody good looking? Sometimes you wake up next to it, don't you? I've woke up next to it. One time I woke up next to it, oh, get out, get out. She said, you get out, this is my house. Kick my house out. I don't know, I have no idea. Guy told me he was in a blackout, I deny it. I don't know what it is, but deny it anyway, because I deny everything. You know, I do today, of course, I understand what it is, a disease of denial. You know, I wrote words to cover it. Denial, D-E-N-I-A-L. Don't even notice I am lying. Or don't even notice it's a lie. I don't notice when I'm lying, and I don't notice when I'm being lied to, especially by a disease that tells me I ain't got it. Anybody know what I'm talking about? The disease is the only disease that tells you ain't got it. Nobody know what I'm saying? What about the voices? Anybody relate to the voices? Who relates to the voices that talk to you? You know the voices that talk to you drive you crazy? Them voices talk to you all the time? Them voices that just said, what voices? Them voices. You know them voices drive you crazy? Got a drink to drown the voices, for heaven's sake, driving you crazy. I don't know none of this. I don't know nothing about this. I don't know nothing about nothing when I get here. Don't know I'm alcoholic. Don't know nothing about nothing. And for our new folk, everything I do know is all in retrospect. I didn't know nothing about this. I never brought any of this with me when I got here. And I haven't got very much time. Blimey, I've been speaking for half an hour or so already. Blimey. I'm a real alcoholic, you know. I mean, I don't even know what I'm going to say up here tonight, but I do know I'm going to want more time to say it in. Because I want more. I've got a disease of more. I want more, everything. I just want more of it. Doesn't matter what it is, I just want more of it. I'd even want more bloody herpes than you. I mean, I do. I just want more of everything. You know, more. Anybody know what I'm talking about? More. Look 3 bottles of water. Ain't touched one of them, but if they wasn't there, there'd be a problem. So I get here, guy tells me I'm alcoholic. Alcoholic? Wow, alcoholic. Said I'm alcoholic. Disease said, don't admit you're alcoholic. Whatever you do, don't admit you're alcoholic. Voices said, don't admit you're alcoholic. You're not alcoholic, you're just crazy. He said, I'm alcoholic. You're not alcoholic. Deny it. Do not admit you're alcoholic. You do. Tell him to screw you. Get screwed. Well, he said, I'm alcoholic. I mean, crazy. They keep locking me up for being crazy. No one's ever locked me up for being alcoholic. I mean, great. I'd rather be alcoholic. Being alcoholic was like a step up for me. I mean, wow, I'm alcoholic. I ain't nuts, I ain't crazy. I'm alcoholic. He said I'm alcoholic. Wow, alcoholic. Wow, far out. Far out, I'm alcoholic. I couldn't wait to run home and tell my best friend, the one that morning had kicked me out, told me to piss off. Couldn't wait to run home and tell him. I did. I ran home. I told him, knocked him up. I said, hey, guess what? I'm alcoholic. I'm powerless over alcohol. My life's unmanageable. He said, no shit. I thought he was going to be surprised. I was the only one surprised. Everybody else knew. Anybody relate to that? Everybody knew I was alcoholic except me. I never knew. And I've loved being alcoholic ever since. You know, and if there's 12 steps attached to anything, I'm a contender for it. Doesn't matter what it is. If there's 12 steps attached to anything, I'm a contender for it. AA, NACA, ACA, overeaters, little Peters, it doesn't matter what it is. If there's 12 steps, I'm a contender. I did actually go to a little Peter meeting, but they wouldn't let me in, said I didn't qualify. They let Ron in, Ron was all right. Rotten lot laughing at little Ron like that. But I don't know, you know, and I'm learning and, you know, alcoholic, wow, alcoholic, wow, that's a surprise. And, you know, I kept coming and, you know, initially, you know, I've changed. I've totally changed since I've been here. I'm no longer broke, busted, disgusted and not to be trusted like I was when I got here, you know. I've changed. I'm a very wealthy man financially and materially, but my greatest asset is that loving God you taught me about, that I never brought in here with me. I had no concept of a power greater than myself, like our steps talk about, powerless. I had no idea what that meant. I went round asking, what does it mean to be powerless? What does powerless over alcohol mean? Now, I don't know whether you know or not, but I met a lot of people that didn't seem to know. I went, what does it mean to be powerless over alcohol? People told me some of the weirdest crap I've ever heard, you know. Told me all about what they did because they were powerless, but not what powerless was. And I didn't know. And it said in the beautiful book, remember we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling and powerful. Cunning, baffling and powerful. Then it went on to say, but there's one who has all power, that one is God. May you find him now. And I went, wow, that doesn't make no sense. That contradicts itself. Alcohol's cunning, baffling and powerful, but there's one who has all power, that one is God. May you find him now. Well, how can that be? How can he have all the power if alcohol's powerful? Does that mean he's got all the power except the power that the disease has got? Or he don't really have it all because the disease has got some. He may have more or more powerful power, but he ain't got it all. That contradicted itself, and I couldn't get with that. I had to work that out because I didn't know what to do. Powerless over alcohol, powerless. There's one who has all power, that one is God. May you find him now. Well, if I had to find him, it meant I didn't have him. If he's the source and he's the power over everything, and I'm powerless where alcohol's concerned, it must mean that I'm godless. I'm godless where alcohol is concerned. Powerless. Wow. I never knew that. I never even thought about that. How would I know? Powerless over alcohol means that where alcohol is concerned, I'm godless, because he's the source and he's the power over everything. Well, how come I'm powerless over alcohol? I'm a child of God. God loves me. He's my father, you know. Well, how come I'm powerless over alcohol? Am I a victim? You know? Well, I had to learn, because what happened on January the 15th, 1983, two things happened. One was alcohol stopped working. I didn't even know it was working, but that's what it was. Alcohol was working right up until it stopped working, and I didn't know that. I didn't know what alcohol was doing. I didn't know what it was about me that made me alcoholic, so I had to learn. But alcohol stopped working. That was one thing that happened on January the 15th. The other thing was I hit bottom. I didn't know. I looked in the book for hitting bottom. It's not mentioned. I went round asking folk, what does it mean? What does hitting bottom mean? Because I heard in the meeting people say everybody's bottom's different. I went, well, what does that mean? What do you mean everybody's bottom's different? So I went round asking people, what does hitting bottom mean? You'd be amazed at what I got told. People told me all kinds of weird crap. They told me the consequences and the results of their drinking at the tail end of their drinking, the consequences and results of their life. But they didn't know what hitting bottom was, and they didn't know what powerless was either. But, you know, they knew the rhetoric, they knew the lip flapping, you know, that goes on, but they didn't know. And they told me, you know, they told me about the outside circumstances and conditions of their life at the tail end of their drinking as a result of their drinking. You know, disease, detox, kids gone, family gone, destitute, you know. All that isn't what hitting bottom's all about. That's the outside circumstances of our life at the tail end of our drinking. Sometimes those outside circumstances enable us to become capable of hitting bottom, but in and of themselves, they're not the bottom. Because the bottom is an inside job, not an outside circumstance. And believing those outside circumstances, the bottom, is a very dangerous part for us. Because those outside circumstances, as they get better and improve, we falsely believe we've gotten better and improve and drink again. So I've got to be very wary of that. And hitting bottom's an inside job, not an outside circumstance. So far from hitting bottom being different for everybody, there's no unity in being different. So we've got to realise that it's the same, and I had to work that out and get to know it. Because hitting bottom, and why it's so precious, see, hitting bottom's not mentioned in the programme, but in the 12 and 12, in the very first step, Bill says that why all this insistence that every alcoholic must hit bottom first? Well, I mean, that's some ballsy shit to say to a bunch of drunks, isn't it? Drunks who don't like authoritative figures and don't like being told what to do. Yeah, well, hit bottom on this, Father Mucker, you know. But it's so important that although he never grasped it in the beginning, he didn't grasp it right in the book, more was disclosed to him. And in the 12 and 12, he insists that every alcoholic must hit bottom first. Why? Because we've got to understand that being alcoholic, what it is about me that makes me alcoholic, isn't what I do because I'm alcoholic. What makes me alcoholic isn't what I do and the consequences as a result of my drinking. What makes me alcoholic and what differentiates me from my three sisters and brother, for example, because I'm an only child in a family of 5 children. My 3 sisters and brother are not alcoholic. They don't know why I drink. I don't know why they don't. I ask them, why don't you drink? They say, I don't like it. I say, what? What do you mean you don't like it? What don't you like about it? They say, well, if I have one too many, I feel sick. I say, sick? You've got to drink past that. And it stops at sick. They don't laugh. They think I'm weird. They do. They think I'm weird. Anybody ever heard those fatal words? What is wrong with you? The hell's wrong with you? For Christ's sake, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? For crying out loud, what is wrong with you? And they ask me what's wrong with me as if I know. What is wrong with you? Oh, actually, I've got a twofold disease. It's an obsession of the mind, allergy of the body. Can't control my drinking. I don't know what's wrong with me. What's wrong with you? Why do you drink like you do? Why don't you drink like I do? Because I don't know. I don't know what it is about me, but I had to learn. And what it is about me that makes me alcoholic and differentiates me from my 3 sisters and brother and from the normal folk out there is that I have an abnormal reaction to alcohol. Now, I looked for it in the book and I didn't find it. I saw in the doctor's opinion where it talked about alcohol and alcoholism. That had some words that described it. But, you know, I have an abnormal reaction to alcohol. What that abnormal reaction to alcohol is that alcohol changes my perception of reality. Now, I know everybody in the room knew that, except if I'd asked you first. Alcohol changes my perception of reality. Alcohol changes me from a duck to an eagle. I go out drinking as a delicate little duck, I have a few stiff ones and turn into an eagle, go swooping around looking for prey. And it's not P-R-A-Y either. It changes my perception of reality. Mary in my own group back there in Santa Monica, she puts it as well as I've ever heard anybody put it. She's a delicate little dudette. Badass drunk is Mary. She says when she drinks, she feels wittier, prettier and tiddier. And I know exactly what she means. Alcohol changes her. She ain't no delicate little wallflower when she's drinking. It's come and get some of this, big boy. Alcohol changes my perception of reality. Why do I want to change in perception of reality? Because I can't stand reality. I hate reality. Screw reality. Screw you in reality. I hate reality. And that's what alcohol does. It changes my perception of reality so that I can stand being here in this rotten world with you rotten people doing rotten crap that I can't stand. Right up until January the 15th when it stops working. And I hear people say they liked alcohol, they liked how it made them feel, they enjoyed alcohol, it was the solution, not the problem. Right up until January the 15th when it stops working, stops changing my perception of reality. That's why I wrote the word sober, S-O-B-E-R, son of a bitch, everything's real. You know, I don't like real, screw real, you know. And that's the difference between sober and sobriety. A lot of people, we even give out chips for 30 days of sobriety and stuff, but it's not sobriety, it's sober. You know, because there's a total difference between sober and sobriety, and I didn't realise that, but I do today. I've been physically sober many, many times in my life. Many times in my life I have been physically sober, and there's a total difference between physical sobriety, being physically sober and living in sobriety. See, sober is the abstinence of alcohol, S-O-B-E-R, son of a bitch, everything's real. Sobriety, S-O-B-R-I-E-T-Y, staying off booze, recovery is everything to you. See, one thing's sober, and that's a terrible state for an alcoholic to be in. We've got to be sober, and it's the underlying force of the whole thing. Without that, nothing counts. But that's not all it is. And in the beautiful book it says, elimination of our drinking is but a beginning. A far greater demonstration of our principles lies before us in our respective homes, occupations and affairs. So we've got to be sober and then apply these principles to all our affairs, take it outside to our various families and everything else. We know that, don't we? You know? I don't know about you guys here in Doylestown, but, you know, we have affairs down there in Santa Monica. We're no good at them, but we don't give them up. You know, what about the relationships? Anybody good at the relationships? How are you at relationships here in Doylestown? We're not very good at them. I wrote a word for relationships. R-E-L-A-T-I-O-N-S-H-I-P. Really exciting love affair turns into outrageous nightmare. Sobriety hangs in peril. Oh, you relate to that, huh? Yeah, well, I told you we're no good at them, but we don't give them up. But I get to apply these principles to all our affairs so that I can stay sober in spite of being sick. And I've got to learn this stuff, and I didn't know. And in that very first meeting, well-meaning people, at least I hope they were well-meaning, I mean, they said, let go and let God. I said, what? He said, turn it over to God. I said, what? They said, pray to God. I said, pray to God? Are you crazy? If I pray to him, he'll know where I am. You know? I wasn't going to pray to no God that was going to get me. They told me all my life, God will get you for that, God will get you for that. Don't you play with that, God will strike you blind. You know? You know what I mean? Did they tell you that? Well, you know, you tell an alcoholic not to do something, can he do it? So I did it, of course. When I found out how good it felt, I thought, well, I'll risk one eye. Why would I pray to something that's going to get me? That God will get you for that. So I was bolting out the door. I didn't know where to go. I had nowhere to go, but I was taking off. Well, blessed and grateful, there were some Native American brothers sitting by the door. They said, Mick, come and sit with us. We're a little bit different to some of the stuff you've heard. Maybe you know. And I did. I had nowhere else to go anyway. And they taught me about Father Sky, Mother Earth, brothers and sisters, family, Family, Father and Mother, I love you. And I went, wow, this was so much nicer, so much more warm and fuzzy to, on your knees, sinner. You know, that didn't work for me. I didn't like that at all, you know. But I grew, and I thank AA for my God, and I thank God for AA. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is. And today, you know, I have a relationship and an understanding of a power greater than myself. Makes complete sense to me that I can deliberately rely upon over all things to stay clean and sober. Because I'm a very sick guy. You know, I come out of Nutwards for the criminally insane. One of those times I came out of a maximum security prison as physically sober as I stand before you right now. 6 weeks later, I come out of a blackout, I'm in chains in front of a judge on a murder charge, and I've killed a man, and I don't know what I've done. That's where I go. I don't go out and have little slippy poos. I go out drinking and come out of blackouts in chains in front of judges on murder charges. That's what happens to a guy like me. How does a guy like me, you know, become successful and deal with life and life's terms in these ways and grow? Right here is how it happened, dealing with this beautiful, wonderful way of life that God provided for me. That's why I know God's will for me, and I know God's will for you too. God wants his alcoholic children to be clean and sober, happy, joyous and free, helping another one of his kids. That's what God's will for you is. If you don't know that, learn it. If you've got a God who don't want that for you, get rid of the bugger. You know, God wants his alcoholic kids to be clean and sober, happy, joyous and free, helping another one of his kids. That's what he wants for us. And my will is his will for me. Whatever his will for me is my will. And he wants me clean and sober, happy, joyous and free, helping another one of his kids. So he knows I'm human, he made me, I'm one of his kids, and he says, Mick, I want you to be clean and sober, happy, joyous and free, helping another one of my kids, but I know that you're human and you've got frailties, so I've provided a beautiful, wonderful way of life for you to live by. Here it is here, 12 spiritual steps. Provided me with the tools to enable me to do what he wants for me. So why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I want to be that? Why wouldn't I stick with this and do that? And that's what I did. That's what I've been doing. And that's what I'm going to carry on doing. That's what you guys told me to do. So I'm going to do it. Is it time, Ron? Have we got to wrap it up? I'm only just getting going, man. I told you I'd want more time to say it in. But look, all right, I've got to wrap it up. But look. Is it worth it? I always end on this little story because you know, when I was just a little kid, it was so devastating and painful and powerful where I came from. You know, and kids learn how to survive, survive, and they have learning techniques. And I got 2 kids, you know. Anybody here got kids? Who's got kids? Yeah, well, you know. You know, I ain't never been married. I ain't never had a wife, you know, of my own. But I got, I got a couple of kids, and, you know, my kids ain't alcoholic. I'm alcoholic, my kids ain't. My 3 sisters and brother ain't alcoholic, their kids are. You know, that's what we're doing here, you know. And when I was growing up, it was so devastating. My survival technique that I learned as I was doing 4-step work and stuff was that, you know, it was so painful and powerful, dysfunctional where I came from. People would tell me stuff, and I couldn't stand it, didn't like it, so I would mentally change it to what I did like and then blame you for telling me. And they'd say, what's wrong with this kid? There's something wrong with this kid. He gets you in trouble, this kid. Lock him up, put him away somewhere. There's something wrong with this kid. He don't hear shit right. And I don't. You know, it never happened just because I got here. Long before I got here, I don't hear crack right. I mean, I don't. It used to drive my mum nuts. I used to come home drunk, you know, and, you know, alcoholics have this insane belief that they know how to be quiet. You know? And they come home and they're all, you know, shit-faced and mum's in her bed, good woman that she was. She like, you couldn't get one over on my mum in her house. I mean, she heard everything, you know, and she'd hear me stumble, bumble, you know. And she'd yell out down the stairs, drunk again, son? And I go, So am I, Mum. You know? She'd say, I'm not bloody drunk. I've been in bed since 8 o'clock. The hell's wrong with you, bloody weirdo? And I wouldn't get it. And I'd think, well, why did she say she was drunk then? She's messing with me. Because I don't hear crap right, you know. Well, my mum used to bash me when I was a kid. And when I got big enough, I bashed her. Can you dig that? I mean, you know. Well, that relationship was a devastating relationship. Violent. Well, I came and joined you. I came here to Alcoholics Anonymous, and you guys taught me, and you changed me. I came every single day. My mum never went to a single 12-step meeting in her entire life. Boy, she did need it, believe me. But she never went to a single meeting in her entire life. I came every single day. Every single day I came to a meeting with Alcoholics Anonymous. And I changed, and I grew. And so did what I did and what I do. And that devastating relationship with my mum turned. It changed. You taught me, and you taught me well. Guided me. That relationship, that devastating relationship, turned into a very loving, sweet relationship between a mum and his son. A son and his mum. No violence, no nothing. Loving relationship, very precious. Well, Mum just passed a little while ago. She was glad to go. She was ready to go. She was burnt out. She wanted to go. My 3 sisters and brother were sitting around the bed. I'm here in America. They tell me that Mum was going in and out of a coma. Mum was going to and coming to, and they didn't know when the time was going to come that she would pass. But they told me that at one time Mum came up on her elbows and she had the broadest grin on her face. I said, Mum, what's going on? Are you all right? And she said, Mickey's doing good in AA in America. But she laid back and passed. How does that happen? How does that happen? How does a guy like me put a smile on an old lady's face as she goes to meet her mate? How does that happen? Right here. Right here in Alcoholics Anonymous is how it happens. And you guys taught me. That's why Alcoholics Anonymous is so precious to me. Alcoholics Anonymous, look. ALCOHOLICS, Alcoholics. ANONYMOUS, Alcoholics Anonymous. This is what it means to me. A life centered on helping others lives in complete sobriety. Actions, not our names, yield maintenance of unity and service. Our 3 legacies, look, it's down there. That's good crap, isn't it? Think I knew that when I got here? Never had a clue. You guys taught me how to change, and I never knew that you were teaching me how to change. I hadn't been around here many minutes, and a rough, gruff old guy got hold of me, and he said, come on, Mick, we're going to wash the cups at the Tuesday night meeting. I said, I don't want to wash the cups at the Tuesday night meeting. He said, we're going to get drunk. I said, I don't want to get drunk. He said, come and wash the cups. Shit. They weren't delicate cups like these styrofoam. They were these big-ass chunky mugs, and they smoked in meetings, so there was ash and butts in them and all that. 200 bloody hairy-ass mugs I had to wash. Standing at a sink, elbows up to me, elbows in water. I'm a superstar washing bloody cups. Felt like a right dick. You know? Following day he said, don't forget Mick, he said, if they let us we'll come and wash the cups next week as well. I said, we just washed them last night. He said, they'll need washing again next week. I said, I don't even wash my own cups. He said, we'll go and get drunk. I said, don't want to get drunk. Come and wash the cups. Oh, no. Washing the cups. 200 hairy ass cups. Mugs. Big ass mugs. Went on for 4 months. 4 months. Tuesday night, washing 200 rotten mugs. One day I was washing the mugs and a guy came and stood at the end of the sink. I said, what do you want? He said, sponsor said I've got to wash the cups. I said, what cups? He said, I guess then. I said, piss off and get your own cups. You ain't having my cups. These are my cups. You ain't having my cups. I didn't know he was teaching me how to become a different person, to change, to become a contributing member of Alcoholics Anonymous, doing the things that we do here to contribute, like Ron talked about, contributing to the greater good of the whole, like the tables are being needing to be cleared. We need some help and we help each other, don't we? That's what we do here. You know, I'm glad to be here. And if you're wondering whether you is or whether you isn't a real alcoholic or not, I'll give you a little clue. They say if you're laughing, you're relating. And if you're relating to a sick bugger like me, there ain't no doubt about you, pal, I'll tell you that. I don't get through to well people. My mum don't laugh at my shit. You know, every year I used to go home and see my mum, no matter what year it was, like this year, I'd go home and see my mum. And first thing I do, I go home and I knock her up and I tell her, Mum, I'm 34 years sober. She says, so is the cat. She don't give me a pat on the back for not doing something I shouldn't have done anyway. She says, I'm busy, I'm going to bingo. She didn't like it when I came home and puked on the cat. Have you ever puked on the cat? That's really weird. You know? I mean, if you're an alcoholic like me, puking, and I ain't no dribble-ass puker, I ain't no I'm a directional puker, me. I can hit your foot from here, like that. Then you come home and you're all, you know, loaded and you can feel it coming because you've done it a million times before and you can feel it coming. And then you swallow it back down, you know. Shut up. And then you can feel it coming, it's going to be a gusher. Right on the cat. And you look at it like that and you think, well, I don't remember eating that. And then the cat gets up and runs off and crap, you know, and got carrot and corn over it, you know. I don't know where that carrot and corn comes from, but where does that come from? I never once sat down and ate a diced carrot and corn, but every time I puked, there the bugger was. Carrot and corn. Mum never used to laugh at that crap, believe me, you know. But we do, don't we? Because we come together and we understand. You know, my telephone number, and I'll wrap this up because I guess I'm going over a little bit over. My telephone number is 818 area code, are you sober? 818 are you SOBER? And I don't give the numbers because if you're trying to work it out, it may sort of like take a couple of minutes to work it out, and if you're in the grips of the disease, it may just save you that. 818 area code, are you sober? And I give you that number because that's what you guys gave me. You know, when I got home from that very first meeting, I had 2 telephone numbers in my hand. You guys have given me 2 telephone numbers. Now, I know you don't call, but I did. And I called one of the guys on the number. Didn't know who he was. Said to the guy, answer the phone. I said, I don't know who you are, pal. I said, but I got your phone number in my hand and I called it. He said, I recognise your accent from the meeting at lunchtime. Oh, I said, was you at the meeting? He said, yeah, I gave you the number. I told you I wasn't glued together very well, you know. I said, what about them meetings? He said, what about them? I said, you go to them meetings? Yes, he said, I go to them meetings. I said, when do you go to them meetings? Every day, he said. I said, you go to them meetings at night? He said, yes, I go to a meeting every night. I said, can I go to one of them meetings with you tonight? He said, well, normally I would say yes. He said, but I've made arrangements to go to a movie with some friends. I felt all rejected, went all little inside, you know, and all right, don't matter. And he picked up on it like we do. He went, oh, Mum, what is wrong with me? I went, what's the matter? He said, you may have just saved my life. I said, no, I never done nothing. He said, the newcomer wants to go to a meeting. I tell him, no, I'm going to a movie with 4 months sober. I said, you go to them meetings, you've been going for 4 months, what does that mean? He said, I'm 4 months sober. And I'm supposed to help people like you. I got 4 months sober and I'm supposed to pass it on. I went, oh, wow. He said, where do you live? I'm coming round to pick you up. I said, really? He said, yeah. said, what about your movie? He said, you're much more important than a movie. I went, I am. Went all special again, didn't I? And he came round and picked me up. Him and his 4 months. Took me to a meeting, got me a beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous. Still got it, 3rd edition. Got lots of miles on it too. They say a man who's got a book that's falling apart usually isn't falling apart themselves. Well, there's a little tangent to that story. Being a newcomer, he had 4 months sober, and helping me was the most important thing that he put off other things in his life for. Taught me a very special meaning, a very special message. Just not too long ago, we have things like this in Los Angeles, and we have celebrations and stuff, and we were having a celebration in Balboa Park, and we had a big picnic, you know, and it was an open air event. It was lovely event, and, you know, I got all my troops around me, and, you know, they haven't got any money, and, you know, but I teach them what you guys taught me, teach me how to contribute, how to become a contributing member, how to do clean-up, how to do service, how to be security, stuff like that. They haven't got much money, but they can put in their effort. You guys taught me that. I'm walking around Balboa Park with my troops, having a good time. Bumped into old Zachary. Bumped into Zachary, who all those years ago, with his 4 months, took me to a meeting. Got me a beautiful book, Alcoholics Anonymous. I went, oh, hi Zach, how you doing, man? He said, I'm doing great, Mick. He said, I know you're doing good. I hear good things about you all the time. I said, I'm doing great, man. He said, I know. I said, what are you doing here, Zach? Because he lives on Beverly Hills side of the hill. We're in San Fernando Valley. He said, I'm speaking at the meeting today. I said, really? He said, yeah, I'm the main speaker at the meeting. And it took me just half a second to realise, 35 years later, he's still 4 months ahead of me. The actions we take, see, that's what we do, don't we? We participate in our own recovery. Well, I've got to wrap this up, and I know I'd go over, but, you know, thanks for your patience, and thanks for your love, and thanks for, you know, letting me know that I'm one among many. I love that. I love being a small part of a great whole. Namaste.
Let's thank Mickey one more time. Thank you. It's customary for us to form a line and thank our speaker. Take some time out. They come out here. He spend Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know, and give him a nice Doylestown walk when we get done here again. And if you want to help us clean up, please do that. We've got a nice way of closing. If you care to join us, we'll just stand where we are. Remember to get this many people into a circle. Okay, I guess we'll just, you want to get circle gets the square. All right, we need a bigger boat. Take a moment of silence, do with it whatever you want. Hopefully you'll hook up with somebody. If you care to join us, we'll on with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.